Hey. Welcome to day 16 of swimforrecovery.com. That's right. Here we are, day 16. Broke 1,000 laps today. So I want to show you this cool little video, and we'll be right back. This is a video I did today as I swam the 1,000th lap today in the pool. Here you go. Make this bigger. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Hold on a second. All right. Pause. Getting ready to swim our 1,000th lap today. So join me. I'll be back in 2 lengths of the pool. Say thank you. Got to strap on the gloves, or not the gloves, the paddles. So here we go. 2 more laps to break 1,000 laps. Here we go. That's right. 16 days into this, swimming lap 999 right now. Coming to you with finishing up lap 1,000. There we go. The 1,000th lap of swimforrecovery.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, just go to swimforrecovery.com. You can see all the recovery testimonies, recovery stories I've shared this month already. So 15 stories so far. After the swim, I usually go home and fire up StreamYard and do some streaming. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go check out the rest of my Facebook page. But that was officially the 1,000th lap of 1,980 laps total to swim. So it's cool to be in the 4 digits. It's been a lot of dedication. Thanks to all the people that have already donated. And some of you might be waiting until the end of the month just to make sure I complete 30 days of swimming, which I will. So thanks to all that have supported so far. The encouragement will reach thousands of people through the videos, sharing the testimonies, and emails and all sorts of stuff. So God bless. Check out the rest of my Facebook page, and also big details on there for the big party September 29th at the end of the month. So that's the 1,000th lap of swimforrecovery.com. Go check it out. But I still have, let's see, that was only, what was that? I have a lot more laps to swim today. That's for sure. So I got to get at it. God bless, and thanks for all your encouragement and support. Up, just realized I was still muted. So that's right, 1,000 laps. We got the 1,000th lap in, but total been 16 miles, 1,056 laps, which visually is 281.6 football fields back to back to back, or end to end to end, I guess. So, but anyway, getting ready to share Arnie Wexler's story. Arnie is one of the few guys, I think maybe the only guy that's sharing about gambling addiction, and pretty cool guy. I've interviewed him on my um, podcast show. I've got a copy of his book here. He's really changed lives through helping people with gambling addictions, which is actually one of the harder addictions I had to break free from besides substances, because I never really saw how it was truly affecting my life. So enjoy Arnie's video here, and please share this in your Facebook pages. Send people the swimforrecovery.com link and let them go check it out. And here we go. Let's get into Arnie's story. All right, all right. Here we are in another interview on swimforrecovery.com. Hanging out with my friend Arnie. I have your book right here. I wanted to show that off because it's called
Thank you.
All Bets Are Off. I mean, we're talking about gambling addiction today and just addictions in general, really, but gambling kind of like the focus. So, hey, Arnie Wexler, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. You're
Yeah,
terrific on it. Appreciate any time you put me on. We get people calling for help. So that's
yep.
what it's all about.
Heck yeah. That's gambling addiction is kind of one of those things where when people are reaching out for help, a lot of times it's the end of the rope and they're out of finances, right? And but then again,
Rob,
there's a lot that aren't, and that's the great thing that they can get help at any point along the way.
Rob, it's getting totally crazy now with the casinos opening up what they did and everything's on the internet, on the phones. The explosion is with these young kids. I'm getting so many calls from young people or parents of these young people that are in deep trouble. And some of them are as young as 15 and 16 years old.
Oh my gosh, it is sad, and we're going to get into some of those statistics and stuff first. But first of all, Arnie, your now, do we call it a sobriety date for gambling, or what do we call it?
Yeah, I guess you could call it that.
All right,
My
so
last time I gambled was April 10th, 1968.
there you go. And y'all, I captured Arnie's whole story on one of my podcast shows, so we'll repost that link too. But all right, so we're talking about gambling. We're talking just a couple decades ago, right? Is your freedom, but in what city are you in, or what state are you in right now?
Right now, I'm in Bradley Beach, New Jersey. In about a month, we'll be back in Florida.
All right, from Jersey to Florida, getting to the warmer weather for the winter. Smart man right there. And but let's talk about. I mean, you do a lot of awesome stuff now. We're going to get to that, but first, I want to dive into what was it like for you back in. Well, actually, talk about how did your gambling dependency and gambling addiction start, and then how did it progress?
Well, I started gambling at age 7 or 8 years old, and it was betting three baseball players to get six hits for the day. You bet 10 cents, you could win $1. That's really how it started. And then it was pitching pennies and playing cards in the street and shooting dice and all kinds of stuff like that. At 14, I went to the racetrack for the first time in my life. I was working after school for 50 cents an hour, and I walked out of the racetrack winning $54. And I thought, wow, what an easy way to make money. I'm going to be a millionaire. And I was locked in.
Mm,
And at that time, I was probably 17 years old. And I took two girls to the racetrack at two different times. I lost both times, so I knew girls were bad luck. So I never went out with another girl. And then I met my wife when I was 21 and she was 16. And 2 years later, she was 18. We actually 19. So we got married. And the next 7 years, I almost destroyed her life.
mm. Now, was there any other addiction that was in your life, or was it just gambling?
Nothing, maybe food might have been one, but it was mostly gambling. 99% was about gambling.
Okay. All right. And I know, and again, I know more your story than maybe some people listening have never kind of heard you share. But could you share? And if you don't want to, you can share a different story. But share the story about I think when your it was a time when you were listening to a baseball game or something under your pillow, and there was a real
Yep.
important thing going
Yep.
on in your life. Tell me that story.
Okay. We were married probably about 3 years at the time. And transistor radios came out just about that time. And I used to go in the bathroom and listen to the transistor radio and hear the ball games that I won or lost. And my wife kept bothering me. She wanted to have sex, and I could care less about sex. All I was interested was about gambling. Well, it became such a pain for me and her. I finally did her a favor. So we're having sex, and I got a radio on under the pillow listening to a ball game that I have a bet on. And that shows you where my head was even at that point. And she didn't hear it, of course, but that was the start of the craziness that went on in our life.
The lengths that we will go, and what people I don't think understand is, gambling. You don't have to put a substance into your body. So we're talking about the brain and dopamine and all the stuff that's going on, right? So of course that can be a better high than having sex because it's an up and down. So what was that like for you on the chemical part of your brain? Just or were you even aware of that back then?
No, nobody even understood that stuff at that time. But the biggest problem with the gambling addiction, it's so hidden, it's so invisible. There's no track marks, there's no dilated pupils, and the suicide rate for compulsive gambling is much higher than any other addiction because it's hidden so long and nobody knows about it except the gambler that's destroying their life.
Yeah, that was part of my life too. I mean, it's been just over 3 years for me from casino gambling or anything like that, and just had to step away because it was just more of the mental torture. And so
That's
obviously
true.
your life changed to a point where, 1968, you made a decision or someone made it for you that you needed to stop. So what led up to that?
Well, that's a funny story too. A guy came to work in my place, and I was the plant manager, and he was an efficiency expert. And they brought him in to check how the factory was working. I was supervising 500 people, and I was gambling all day long. And it turns out this guy came to our work, and I heard he was a millionaire. So I thought I set him up, and he was going to bail me out. I owed 3 years annual salary at that time. So I said, Jerry, he said, yeah, you need to go to Gamblers Anonymous. I didn't even know what he was talking about. But after 3 weeks of him annoying me and bothering me about going to meetings, he finally said to me, they straighten out money problems. So in my sick mind at that point, I thought that meant they were going to pay off my gambling debts. So I was a happy camper and I went to that first meeting. And 3 weeks later, somebody said to me, we'll give you a pressure relief meeting. That's a budget meeting if you bring your wife. My wife didn't even know for the 3 weeks that I was going to meetings. So I went home and I thought that's where I get the money. So I told her, and we came to the budget meeting 2 weeks later. And the budget meeting decided that I owed 3 years annual salary, like I said, and they told me I needed two more jobs. Now I knew these people were crazy. So I never really came to get help. I came to get a bailout. And that was in February 12th of 1968. On April 10th of 1968, I made my last bet. And then it took me till September of that year to really buy into the program. I still had dreams about gambling. I still thought I was going to go back to gambling. I thought I was going to win all my money back. It took me 6 or 7 months in the program to really understand that I needed to stop gambling. And that was the answer.
Mm. That is so powerful because here you are, right? You're kind of thinking you're going to get one thing and then you get another. And the thing I like about you, Arnie, again, I mean, I know you have a book out that changes a lot of people, but you have this really great Facebook group you started. And the thing I like about it is you're not there promoting yourself. You're not there like call me, do this, do that. You're there to really help people. So, what's the Facebook group that you have that so many people are tapped into getting help these days?
Thank you for those kind words. It's a Facebook. It's called Gambling Addiction and Recovery. You can get on there if you're a compulsive gambler. All you have to do is answer two questions. Do I have a problem and do I want help? And we've got over 3,000 people at this point worldwide. We even got people from the Ukraine on there, would you believe?
Wow, that's powerful. And I've been in the group. I'm in the group because, again, it was really it was almost harder for me. And maybe you hear this to quit gambling than it was to quit drinking for me.
Everybody says the same thing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, because I'm not putting anything in my body. It's just and gambling is a lot more than placing the bet, right? It's moving people around in your life to get what you want.
Well, at the end, when I stopped gambling, I owed 32 people. I owed relatives and in-laws and people I knew and friends and banks and finance companies. Anybody that I could touch for money, I owed. And there were 32 people at that time.
Wow. And
In
how
fact,
did
in
how
fact,
did
one of them, this is interesting. I was making $125 a week at the time. And I borrowed $5,000 from a Shylock. Some people don't know what that is. That's an illegal money lender. And the guy gave me $5,000. And he said, you got to give me some, show me your pay. And I didn't want to show him my pay stub that I was making $125. I had I had some stock that was worth about 20,000, maybe 30,000 at the time. And I showed him the certificate, which was a photograph of the certificate of the stock, but the stocks were all gone at that point. So I had nothing to my name, and I was making 100 and a quarter a week. And the guy gave me $5,000 loan, and I was paying him $125 a week.
Wow. What was your brain like in your mental capacity, like when you knew you owed all these people money walking around town, and just were you full of fear a lot or what?
It didn't bother me for a long time because I knew I could get more money. And as long as I could get more money, I had the dream that I was going to go to the racetrack one day and I was going to take home everybody's money. Or I was going to bet on sports and I was going to every game I bet on. So you always have that dream that somehow, some way you're going to get a bailout. So the money that I owed really didn't bother me until the end when I couldn't pay it anymore.
Yeah. There's always that hope for the payoff, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah.
The gambler's dream is, a drug addict or alcoholic does not have a dream that their drug or their drinking is going to make their life better. But the gambler thinks that tomorrow, when they place that bet and they win the big win, their life is going to be better and different and okay. And you live with that dream your whole life until you stop gambling.
Yeah. Yeah. It is quite a daunting thing. I'll share one little quick story and then I'll ask you a question about Sheila. Is that I was out in Vegas once, had a really bad loss. It was horrible. It was awful. I was beating myself up, all the lies and like in my head, right? And I was hanging out in my room in the hotel, and it wasn't playing. Out of nowhere, I grabbed the table, or not the table, the chair to like the little office desk in the hotel room. I grabbed that thing, and I'm on one of the top floors in this hotel in Vegas, and I charge as fast as I can to the window to just throw myself out the window. And what happened was the chair like hit the window, rolled up, like bounced off the ceiling, came down, hit me on the head, and I'm just laughing, laying on the floor, looking at the ceiling, like, holy crap! I literally almost threw myself out of a window, and it was just this impulsive hate for myself. It was so awful. And I know you hear those stories a lot from people that reach out to you for help and stuff like that. So I just want to encourage people, like, whatever's going on in your head, it can manifest itself in an impulsive action, especially for gamblers. And it's scary as heck. Suicide is very high. So the question I want to ask you about Sheila is how was that with her in the beginning when it was unveiled of how much you had dug this hole for your family?
Well, let me just share one thing first of all. Most casinos have all locks on the windows so people can't do what you just talked about.
Yeah.
And that is a fact. The suicide rate of compulsive gambling is higher than any other thing. And when I got to my meeting and we had the pressure relief meeting, and Sheila said, well, we have the stock, so we'll be in good shape. And I told her there was no more stock. We had sold it all. I had sold it all. And I'll tell you, it was 3 years of torture living with Sheila in my early recovery because she only wanted to get even with me for all I did.
Mm.
And it took a lot of years till we got into peace and serenity. And it really took a lot of years. So
But
that's what
you
happened.
got there. But you got there.
We got there. We've been in recovery now for 54 years.
Okay.
This April will be actually next April, 55 years.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of hope in that. I mean, the pain sucks. It's real. They learn this stuff. It's like sex and porn addiction. When people are having affairs and stuff, it's just kind of the curtains, everything's out to the point, and
Yeah,
all those things.
nothing else matters but the gambling. I mean,
Yeah.
if my kids were sick, a classic case. Sheila was we were trying to have our second child, and Sheila had a miscarriage, and she was sick, and she called me and said, "I need you to come home because I was at work." She said, "I need you to come home because I'm sick." I said, "Call my brother; he'll take you to the doctor." I mean, you don't care about anything except winning and money, and you don't care about yourself. So how could you possibly care about another person?
Mm. Yeah, it is. It is tough. So how would you encourage someone listening right now that is in this space and they know they're in deep doo doo to go get help?
Oh, sorry,
Well, that's all right.
my dog wants to answer the question.
I have my little puppy over here. He's sleeping. If he were awake, he'd be probably chiming in. But
My guy does it all the time.
yeah, yeah.
So
What would you
You
say to the
can,
person that wants to take that step, if they're scared as heck to do it?
you can, you can send me an email at aswexler, WEXLER, at AOL.com, and I'll be happy to direct you to help where you are locally, or connect you up where you can get some information to get help. If you're a family member, then we could also get you help for a family member.
Wow. Well, thanks for throwing that out there to people. That's huge, and that's what you do. That's why I like you, Arnie. I mean, there's other people in this industry that I don't feel like have the sincere heart like you do, and you're doing good work, buddy. So thanks for spending a little bit of time on swimforrecovery.com. We're going to give some people hope and encouragement with this, and God bless you, man. Hope you have an awesome day.
Thank you. Thanks for helping people. Love
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you too, buddy. Keep forgetting to unmute my mic. So, anyway, Arnie, thanks for sharing your story with us. And gambling addiction it's just a different animal. I mean, I've dealt with substance abuse and gambling addiction, and gambling addiction for me a lot of times I feel like was harder for me to break free from than the substances. And so definitely go check out Arnie. I'm not really promoting a lot of people and kind of like what they do, but I was trying to find the book here. I think I put it away already. But go check out Arnie's book. All bets are off. I mean, it's about gambling, something that's not talked about as much. We may like talk a lot about substances, but please go check that out and share this post. I mean, maybe there's someone that that has a gambling addiction and they need to hear Arnie's story, and they'll hear that story, and that could be the message. Maybe you have a loved one that's gambling. You've been saying to them for years, and they hear Arnie's story, and then that's what does it, and they start entering into healing. So please go to swimforrecovery.com, check out the resources there. And again, I mean, gambling addiction, he said, is like one of the number one suicide rates of addiction, and that gets to such desperation and financial ruin. It's incredible the damage that can be done from gambling addictions. So, hey, that's all for today. But just as a reminder, if you haven't registered already, September 29th, there is the big party, and you can go to that domain name right there and register for it. It's going to be live and in person here in Denver, but also you can watch it virtually. And I just say, if you're in Colorado and you can get to the party, come to the party, because that's actually where we'll be giving people a copy of my new book, the Addiction Intervention book, and we'll have giveaways and stuff. And that's just for the people that are physically. We're not going to be mailing books to people that show up online or anything like that. So come to the party, hang out. We're going to be wrapping up swimforrecovery.com. Again, so far I crossed the thought. I say we, because there are several people that have donated money through swimforrecovery.com and are supporting the cause that way, and with all the benefits that come from that and how we're going to utilize that to help people. So that's all I have for today. I'm going to go have coffee with my buddy Aaron and enjoy a little catching up with him. It's pretty cool. So have a great day. And just so you know, in the future, probably going to be doing a lot more with this right here with Get Lifted TV here on a weekly basis. I don't know what that looks like yet, but it's cool because we had all these templates made for multiple speakers and just going to have a great time. So I just want to say thank you for showing up today. And I guess that's all for now. God bless and have a good one.